Alright, what's up guys? My name is Fierce, and I'm back on Borderlands 1 with another video. Where today, I wanted to try something different and show off some builds from each of the Vault Hunters. I decided to showcase Lilith the Siren first, for a few reasons. Firstly, she is just straight up one of the most broken characters in the game. Some of her skills will either make her run at Mach 1, heal almost all of her health while she's in phase walk, or even a skill which allows you to get your action skill back quicker per each kill that you get, so you can just essentially spam your action skill over and over again. Which brings me to my second point, which is that her phase walk action skill is the most versatile out of the four. It doesn't just make you both invisible and invincible, it heals you, regens your shield, makes you move quicker, and so much more. It's really good for utility. But you can also deal damage with your Phase Blast, dealing whatever elemental damage type based on the respective artifact that you have equipped. The last reason is because whenever I see videos about this character in build videos, they're usually built the same with almost the same gear loadouts, and that's just something that I find lacking with Lilith, is some endgame build diversity. So that's what's on the menu today at the Chimera Cafe. I have 4 builds that I decided to revamp and give an update to. Now, these aren't listed in any particular order. These are builds that I just played in my free time and I wanted to show these off. So if you want to find a specific build, check out the timestamps down below to jump ahead to that part. Lilith deals great critical damage thanks to Slayer, which boosts her crit damage up to 62.5% in 5 out of 5. This is a must-have skill because it makes all of her gear better, from snipers to repeaters. High velocity increases not only your bullet damage, but your bullet speed, making some weapons just spew out bullets like, fucking diarrhea or something, I don't know. Then we have Spark, which boosts our elemental chance and our regen, making any elemental weapon better in proccing elemental dots. Lilith is great at mobbing, she is the top tier in this category. However, it's bossing where she has trouble. She has to depend on the better critical or the better elemental weapons to defeat the boss. She also doesn't have a bonus to reload speed or swap speed, making it more pertinent to stay on top of reloading, preferably before you go into phase walk. That way by the time you're in like a group of enemies, you don't have to be like, hold up, wait a second, reloading, no fair, hold on. Alright, now we're ready. Starting with the most commonly used setup, the Mercenary build uses one of Lilith's best class mods, the Mercenary. This build doesn't rely on too many mechanics, it's all about using gun damage and using your phase walk to position yourself where you need to be. We are taking the golden trio of skills, Slayer, High Velocity, and Enforcer to boost our overall DPS. And we're also going to pick up Quicksilver for that extra fire rate. Now I am using Daze for this build, and I have 2 ways to apply it. I have 5 out of 5 in Dramatic Entrance to Daze in an area of effect, and I also have 1 point into Mind Games for the single target Daze. And with all of these skills combined, we can also utilize Blackout to get our action skill back quicker, which this just means we can use our Dramatic Entrance more and more, or just gives us more time to heal. As far as weapons go, you can really use whatever SMG that you want. However, here's some weapons that I just had a lot of fun with. Starting with the bitch. We love you, bitch.
I love you, bitch.
It has great accuracy and it's really good for landing those critical hits. The Hellfire to scorch the world on fire, like its namesake. Of course, who could forget about the Double Anarchy? This is most people's first choice when it comes to weapons, and rightfully so. This thing fucking shreds. Because she doesn't have any bonuses to reload speed, Lilith can utilize the TD or Anarchy for a faster reload at the cost of some damage. However, if that's not really an issue for you, a Torque or Gearbox Anarchy are the best for damage. Now Stingers are a great option too. They add accuracy and range to your playstyle, no longer just close quarters. Shields are really up to you. Thanks to skills like Diva and Girl Power, you'll get a good boost of capacity and shield regen, making any shield viable. Now I usually stick with a Torch shield with 60% extra health, however I'll switch to the Super Booster for a little bit of health regen, or just a Pangolin shield for more capacity. Grenades are a personal preference, just like shields. The strong options like Betty's are a great choice, and either element has a good use. Our class mod of choice is of course the Mercenary, boosting both SMG damage and shield regen. Now this class mod also boosts Quicksilver and High Velocity, making our overall DPS even better. But that's enough of me talking about this, let's get into the gameplay. A build not commonly used, the melee build uses some of Lilith's other synergies to make the most out of her, let's say, lacking melee skills. We'll be using our phase walk more aggressively, getting right up close to the enemy to slap him in the face. We're making use of hit and run for the small melee bonus, but mainly the phase walk duration, as this will allow us to run a little longer. While we're in phase walk, we can go right up to the enemy and give them the whole smackdown with phase strike, dealing massive melee damage. Now Spark is important to set the enemies on fire easier, and this works in tandem with whatever artifact that you have on. Our main weapon of choice is the Bladed Unforgiven. Not only does it deal good melee damage, it also deals good critical damage still. Since this is boosted even more with Slayer, you're going to get even more critical damage.
Hey guys, Fierce from the future. I've actually been using the Sucker Punch as my main melee weapon, and it's been working out pretty well for me. I still like both weapons, both have their pros and cons. I usually just stick with the Sucker Punch if I'm just doing melee, and then I'll switch over to the Unforgiven if I want to kind of shoot and melee at about the same time.
The Reaper is a great weapon to have, not just for melee builds. In the Enhanced Edition, which is what I'm playing, the melee damage is fixed as its listed 300% bonus. Melee shotguns like Sledges or the Baja's Bigger Blaster are good combat shotguns with 150% melee damage respectively. These are faster at melee attacking than pistols are, so even though these deal a little bit less damage, you can melee faster without having to time your melee as you do with pistols. I've been enjoying using the Plague to apply a corrosive dot to enemies. Unfortunately, it can't spawn with the melee accessory, so it is just used for utility. If you go down in fight for your life, you can barely reach anyone to get a second wind. So I've been using a couple launchers for second winds, and these are the following that I've been using. The Roaster is a really good choice in either a 5 burst or a Helix. Either way works, you're going to be fine. The Redemption and Hive Mind are good options. These are dangerous and the strongest launchers in the game. Please be careful if you're using this. Like the Mercenary build, shields are really up to you, where Meteor for health regen, Torque Shield for more base health. Either or works. However, with this build, I actually started to use a burst shield. While they are not the best when it comes to initially dealing a damage dot, let alone actually just hitting them, but when you actually have good parts, you can oftentimes set enemies ablaze that are in close quarters. And this just acts like a final layer of defense, I guess, I don't know. Betty grenades are the way to go. Since this playstyle is all about elemental stacking and then going for melee, you should be throwing out grenades throughout the fight. Now I mainly stick with corrosive, and that's because I use the fire artifact, so I don't really have to worry about switching in between pieces of gear too often. Plus, if I use corrosion, I can easily apply a corrosive status effect, dealing more melee or elemental damage. Now we actually have a couple choices when it comes to our class mod. Now the Tormentor is really good for the elemental style of the build, boosting our overall elemental chance and damage. It also boosts Spark, which is a good skill already.
Now, going for a more melee-centric class mod, we have the Catalyst, which boosts our team action skill cooldown, and then our team shield regen. It also gives us points into Intuition and Phoenix, which lets us move around quicker and lets us do more fire damage. While the Tormentor is more about dealing the elemental damage, the Catalyst is all about going in and out of your phase walk as much as you can. Because we have +4 in Intuition, we are able to zip around the battlefield way quicker if we have a kill skill. And speaking of kill skills, because we have a boost to Phoenix, we are A, going to deal more fire damage, but B, we are going to have a higher percentage chance to not consume ammo, which is really good. And honestly, this has just been really fun to kind of put together and show off for you guys, so enjoy the gameplay.
Now one of my personal favorite builds, the Pyromancer, takes her affinity for fire damage and goes all in on this element. This build uses Phase Walk as aggressively as the melee build. You can even spec some points into Phase Strike if you want. We are once again taking Spark for the elemental chance bonus, as this will help our weapons proc more fire dots. I've picked up the powerful duo of Intuition for the movement speed, and Phoenix for the fire aura that can light nearby enemies on fire, with the added bonus of a percentage chance of not consuming ammo, which can help us out when we don't have any ammo regen. We are taking Dramatic Entrance once again. Because we're going up close to a group of enemies, the Phase Blast will not only daze them, but the fire damage too, thanks to my fire artifact. And because they move slow, because of the daze effect, I can run up to them easier, dealing even more fire damage. There are plenty of great fire weapons in the game, both unique and non-unique. Some of my favorites are the Hellfire, who I bet no one thought about using for this build. the Volcano, which is my preferred range weapon for this build, the Roaster or any Malawan 5 Burst or Helix launchers, and then the Draco, which maybe isn't the best at dealing fire damage, but it is great against fire badass enemies, where the only way to deal damage to them is by critting them, which is really easy to do if they are dazed. Because I play aggressively and I'm usually close up to enemies, I keep a fire burst shield on. Now this can potentially light enemies on fire, and because of our class mod, it can deal more damage. Now fire Betties and fire rubberized are good fire grenades, but I still like to keep the corrosive Betty on to apply that corrosive dot to enemies so I can deal more fire or kinetic damage. Because of our affinity with fire, we're taking the Firefly class mod, boosting our ignite damage and our fire elemental effect chance. Boosting both Spark and Phoenix, we are just going to have a lot more fire damage to play with. Now we can combine this together with Intuition, which just means we are just going to be running here, there, everywhere, doing fire damage to everything. Now gameplay wise, it's pretty fire. Now you can enter your phase walk and run up to a group of enemies and just explode a bunch of fire damage everywhere. Now because we have a couple points in phase strike, we can potentially one-shot an enemy and still deal a blast of fire damage that will also daze them. Now you can use your Draco or your Hellfire, Volcano, whatever the hell, to take out whatever enemy by aiming at their crit spots. Now something we could also do is cuddle up with them until they die. Now picture this, alright? You look at that dude over there and you're like, that is the ugliest fucking thing I've seen in my entire life. So you one-shot that son of a bitch. Then you look over and you're like, oh my lord, you are the prettiest thing I have ever fucking seen. So you run up to him and you give him a big ol' hug. Oh, and you give him a tight squeeze, and then you look over, then you realize he's just a pile of ashes. You're like, well, that sucks. For our final build, we have the Spectre, which brings the playstyle to long range and using phase walk to position ourselves where we can put a clean headshot on that bandit. This is a build I haven't played much, but after I got used to playing not as aggressively and taking my time to aim for my crits, I've been having a blast. Like this guy. We're taking the main trio of skills, Slayer, High Velocity, and Enforcer. Blackout can be surprisingly useful for this build, helping you get your action skill a little quicker, that way you can zip around and find your good sniping spots. Now, a skill I have not mentioned this entire video, but has been a secret gem, is Silent Resolve. Now, according to the game, if 5 out of 5, you get a 70%, damage reduction. That is bullshit, because according to Loot Lemon, you actually get a fuck ton more than that at 450% damage reduction if 5 out of 5. Now, because we're playing long range, I'm only putting 4 points into this skill, but as you can see with all of my other builds, if I am close range, I am going 5 out of 5. This build, I am not taking Phoenix. You don't need the free shot because the class mod fixes that. Plus, an issue that I ran into with having Phoenix is that whenever you're crouched, you can't see shit. The Cobra has been my main weapon of choice for this build, dealing great explosive damage and oftentimes one-shotting mob enemies. Now, other kinetic snipers like the Elephant Gun and the Skull Masher are great options. These are a top-tier choice. The best in-slot elemental snipers like the Volcano for fire and the Orion for shock are no-brainers. But for corrosion, you can really use whatever you want. Now, I have both a Corrosive Penetrator and a purple non-unique Malawan. These are both good in their own right. If you want to do more critical damage, go for the Malawan. There are some out there who think that the skill Spark is a bad skill for the sniper setup, and that just is not the case. As you can see, this is a sniper with a ×2 tech level and a non-unique, and this is what we'll be using for this test. Now, without Spark, I'm not doing as much damage, nor am I proccing it as much, nor if at all. Now, with Spark, it's a night and day difference. As you can see, I'm currently roasting these skags to a nice, crisp medium.
What is the problem?
I ordered this medium, and it's well done.
Thank you.
No, it's well done.
I know it is, I made it.
So please take note, Spark is a great skill to pick up because it boosts your elemental chance a shit ton. The same pattern repeats with the shields. I stick with the Toric shield for most cases, but I will switch to a Tediore shield if I am playing a little bit more aggressively and I need the health regen. The SPECTRE is the only class mod that makes sense for this build, giving you a critical hit damage and ammo regen for snipers. This class mod boosts the golden trio of skills, Slayer, Enforcer, and High Velocity. Now, usually with sniper builds, you kind of sit back, you take your time, and you pick them off one by one. And that works. But if you know anything about me, I am aggressive as hell, and I'm gonna take it out on you guys. Check out the gameplay. So we've made it to the end of this video. This took me a whole lot longer than I anticipated to get this out. Long story short, life is life. But I got this out as soon as I was able to, and I really hope this was worth the wait.
Now, I had so much fun making this video, you would not believe. Making all the montages, getting all just the recording done, setting up the script, everything. Right, so if you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. And hey, if you learned anything new and liked what you saw, consider subscribing. This took me longer than anticipated to get out, but you know, life is life, that is what that is, and I really hope this was worth the wait. But anyway, leave a comment down below telling me your favorite build. Was it the Mercenary, the Spectre, Pyromancer, Spectre, or did I forget something? Now, spoilers, I had a super secret 5th build I wanted to show off, but A, this video was getting a little long, but B, is I had the idea to turn it into a different kind of video. So here within the next, knowing my schedule, the next couple months, you might be seeing that. But anyway guys, my name is Fears. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, and hey, if you really liked it, make sure to sub. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one. See ya.